It is May 3rd, 2017. We're here in La Mesa, California. We're showing another video of the Ridgid SeeSnake snare tool we've created. So we did one video already showing the snare tool in perspective of the camera it was attached to. And so that was this right here. So you're looking at a Ridgid SeeSnake 1-inch camera. It's a D2A. And we'll pan over here to our little cardboard where we've got our layouts. Things kind of shifted with our push rod. So this is the snare tool right here that we've created. So this is a guide that clamps with 2 stainless steel screws right onto the camera, and on the side you can see there's a little mounting for one of these little snare tools. So this is for the 1-inch cameras, and then this is for the standard cameras for the larger ones from Ridgid. So the circle can open up to almost close to about 4-inch in diameter. And again, it's mounted right onto the end of the cable. And on the end, we've just tied off a small piece of string, which would be this very end piece right here. So when you pull on this side, it tightens up the snare here, wherever you're wrapped around. So we're going to go ahead and put this other camera behind the one with the snare tool. We've got the same 3/8 drain cable that we just retrieved from the previous video. It was broken down inside the line. We pushed it back down inside the pipe again. Try to move this forward here without interfering with the maneuverability. So our drain cable is just ahead of us here. You can slightly see that right there. We're now going to go ahead and try to maneuver the snare tool and camera to grab the cable and pull that back up. So we're right now maneuvering the other camera with the snare tool across to push forward and try to maneuver around that end of the cable. Just rode by it here. It's just after this 90-degree turn. Pull back our other camera here for a second so we can try to maneuver it. Knew this was going to be a little tough perspective, trying to get both of them in the right angle. So it's going to keep moving the other camera head as we keep trying to go forward, but we'll do our best to show the perspective of this grabbing at it. So right now we're just trying to maneuver the camera that has the snare attached onto the end of the drain cable, trying to get just the right little angle to maneuver it around it. Very close. Just move the other camera now in front of that piece, kind of in the way. Again, we apologize. This is kind of difficult when you're trying to maneuver 2 cameras inside a tight drain with the angles we have. Really close on the edge here. We're going to back up the other camera for a second, just a little bit. Try and maneuver this by. Now tightening up the snare tool. So you can see right there, we just grabbed the cable with the snare tool. So the snare tool got around the cable. We're now grasping the string that we have attached to the snare tool to keep it tense and taut to hold on to it. And then now we'll go ahead and you can see we're coming back up the pipe. I'm going to try to back up so you can see the perspective. There you go. You can see the camera that has the snare tool is grabbing and pulling up the drain cable that has it attached to it. And we're now out of the sewer pipe. Just kind of lost our perspective there, so we're going to come back over and maneuver the camera so you can see a little bit better here. So here you can see we have our drain cable sticking out of the line, and it is attached to our snare tool right here on the other Ridgid camera. There is the little device right there, wrapped around. Grab it, has it, pulling it out. Now we'll go ahead and set this camera down. Now we can just physically grab, and we can now retrieve the rest of this from the line. So just as before, this was a big 11-foot long 3/8 drain cable. There's the downhead bit that was attached. Throw that onto the sidewalk here. Detach the snare tool. Just throw that onto the sidewalk. You can see right here that big long piece of cable, and that was pulled out with this new Ridgid SeeSnake snare tool device that we've created. Again, there's the tools right there, and that's a successful test of pulling out at least a drain cable, and certainly can do with other objects as well. So that concludes this recording.